right, guys, here we go, man. Welcome back. This is the full version. Timing belt, water pump, 2006 Acura TL. This is the car right here. So, man, first thing we're gonna do, we got it jacked up. Y'all know me, safety first, jack stands on there. Got the wheel chalked in the back. Now we took the wheel off so we can get in here because we're gonna have a couple of bolts we gotta get to right here. Now, I'm gonna show you the timing belt kit again, a little further in depth. Okay. We're gonna start ripping all this plastic off. We got the negative cable off. So, man, we're gonna jump right into it. Here's this kit. It's a Gates power grip timing component kit with water pump. So this is a Gates water pump also. Like I stated in my short earlier. Tensioner, brand new. Tensioner pulley, brand new. Idler pulley, brand new. And there's also a bulletin in here about this shim that we'll go over also. Water pump and O-ring, brand new. And the gasket kit, it came separate, but it's a mall, I believe, and I'm sure we're gonna need it. So we got it anyway, or my dad got it anyway. Now, like I stated in my short video, this is gonna be a long one, 30, 45 minute long video. We have a lot to do and a lot to go over, and I wanna give y'all the best possible content I possibly can. So, we're gonna jump into here, we're gonna get some of this plastic off, get us a light set up, and then we're gonna roll with it, guys. We have a lot to do today. I almost forgot, man, before we get started and get under the hood, this car has 285,383 miles. So, this is the first time we've done the timing belt and water pump. Let's get out there and jump into it. All right, man, we disconnected the negative terminal. We also got a jack. We had to put a board up under the oil pan here because we gotta take that motor mount off to get it out of the way. So, we're gonna get we got all that going. Now we're gonna jump into taking this belt off, removing this motor mount, getting this out of the way. And I believe we're gonna start right here. We're gonna take the power steering hose off. We gotta get that out of the way. We got down here, we took this cover off so we can get to our crank bolt. And that's where we're at right now. So, let me get this camera set up and we're gonna jump right into it. Here we go, man. After we did the battery and everything, we're gonna get the tensioner here. It is the top pulley. Make sure you got a little bit of leverage there. And then there's that. So the belt's off, that's out of the way. We just pulled our brake fluid reservoir up and push it out of the way right here, man, to keep it out of the way. Now, we're gonna take our motor mount bolts out. We're gonna actually remove the whole motor mount and get it out of the way. We just replaced that a while back, so we already know how that goes. And then from there, we're unbolting the power steering pump here, and we'll start taking our upper timing belt covers off, and we'll go from there, man. So we got one, it's a 10 millimeter for that ground strap on your motor mount. We're just gonna get it in there, pop it loose, no big deal. And then your motor mount bolts are 14. Oh, I gotta get my big fingers down in there, fellas. Exactly. Extension? Yeah. Had to grab that extension right there. Just run that out of there real quick. Be gentle, don't let your bolt fall out. Believe me, we've lost some things on this car that they fell in the darndest place. And then that's that. You're gonna take, like I stated, and I showed y'all, man, we already got a block under the engine to hold it up, and we're gonna rip this motor mount off. 1, 2, there it is. See that thing come up, you know you're good. Just whiz them right out of there. There's that one. There's that one. Voila, the motor mount's free. Your wire just hangs. So these here, now we're just gonna take this out just so the motor mount's completely out of the way. These here, man, I believe those are like 18s. I gotta get the socket for that. Okay, so the bottom, the mounting bolts to your motor mount that go to the frame here are 17 millimeter. These two that go to your engine block are 14. These are 17. There's that one. There's one right back here in the back. It's a little bit sneaky, but look at that. It sneaks right past that booster. There's that. See if we can't finagle this thing up and out of here real quick. And then once we get this out of the way, y'all will see we have all kind of room in here to move our hands around and to get that belt completely off of there. Should have ran that one up a little more with that impact. And there it is, look, complete motor mounts out of the way. We're good to go. So, you see all the room we have now? Now we're gonna get in here. We gotta get this power steering pump out of the way. All right, we're gonna get into taking this power steering pump off. You have a 12 millimeter here, and then there's one up under here on the bottom side of it. So we're just gonna crack this top one loose for now. There it goes. Sometimes it's just applied pressure is all you need. And then we got the one on the bottom. Let me grab my deep socket to get this one on the bottom. Now you don't need a deep socket, but it gives you a little more room, right? So you can get in there without an extension, because extension takes some of the torque away from your ratchet. There it goes. There it goes. Nice and steady. Now, let's rip this thing off of here. Y'all know how I do it. We're gonna start at the bottom and we'll take the top off. Especially seeing as the bottom is way more difficult on this little engine. It is the 3.2 liter VTEC. Pretty much the same as a Honda engine.
Fourth generation hot rod. I think it's 3210 cc.
There's one. And you seen that power steering, see how it fell? So there you go. Now the top one has to be a shallow socket because the room is, well, it's pretty tight. And you need something, you know, you need something to get your fingers around if possible. I guess at that point, fellas, we're just gonna do it with the ratchet. That's even easier. It's hard to get your fingers around that. Oh. Two-handed job, one to hold the socket on, one to back the bolt out. Hold that pump up a little bit, kind of hold the weight. Once you get it out so far, you should be able to run it out with your fingers.
Was there 3?
No, it's just 2. Yeah. They're just long-winded.
Love that barn. Just staying long.
Yeah, more threads per inch with a fine thread. Wow, guys. Wow, man. That thing's got to be a 2 1/4 inch long bolt what looks like a 3/4 inch shank on it. Look at that thing, wow. All right, so this, we're just gonna pull it up and out of the way. We're not gonna disconnect it. We don't wanna lose any fluid. Gotta watch that reservoir though. That reservoir will spill. So see, we're just gonna kind of keep it up like so. We don't wanna put a lot of pressure on any of them lines. I mean, at that point, everything's kind of out of the way. There it is. It almost looks like that power steering pump's leaking, Dad. Look at that, bud. From that seal right there. Y'all see that, man? Y'all see? Looks like that, it looks like it's leaking from right here. So it's not making any noise. He hadn't told me anything about it making any noise. So we'll worry about that the next go around. Now that that's off, I believe we got to take the tensioner off here, and then we can pull this cover and see where we're at. So we got to take this engine mount off the block, not just the motor mount. It's a 14 mil also. I already broke that one loose. There's one there, one here. Just go nice and steady, man. I know a lot of you guys deal with rust that I don't have to deal with. We got these Texas vehicles, which are pretty sweet when it comes to that. So it's 1, 2, and one at the bottom down here, 3. Which that one, my man, is a tight fit. Here, extension. No, I think I gotta get it from the bottom. See this? Yeah, that's probably gonna be it right there. Oh, so that one there I'm gonna have to get with a 14mm wrench. I can't get this 1/2 inch ratchet in there. So we're gonna get that ripped off. You got this one bolt on the bottom. Like I stated, they're 14mm, and it's, you know how I like to do it, man. I like to do the bottom one first and then the top. They're easier, but this one is easier to get from the top because there's no room down here to break it free. So, and you're gonna need a shallow socket to do it, and it's gonna have to be 3/8 because of the room. Now, my dad's finishing ripping it out now, and then we're gonna get up top, take the 2 out of the top, and that'll be the actual engine block mount. We can start taking them covers off and get to that timing belt. All right, so one thing to note, this bottom bolt here does not slide all the way out. It should come out with the mount. Now, let me get these other 2 out, and we'll see exactly how it's gonna go. They are pretty long-winded, let me tell you. Get that ratchet set again. Wow. Got a bad spot on them threads. Uh-oh. There we go. Now it's coming out of there. Let's see here. There it is. See, that's a pretty long bolt. It looks good. It just had a little dirt in there. That's all it was. We got one more. There's 3 in total. That one's right here. That one's pretty loose. Let's see if we can do it by hand. Got that ground strap in the way that goes on the actual motor mount.
I already pulled that screw out.
Well, it's loose there. We're holding that thing at an angle. All right, man, we're gonna get, these are 10 millimeter. We're gonna get these top covers off and out of the way. That shouldn't be too bad. Oh, you know what? Hold on, guys, hold on. I gotta get this tensioner out of here, and this idler comes off with it, so I gotta get that off to get these covers off. So we gotta backtrack a second. Hold on, guys. Okay, guys, so I did have to take the tensioner off. Like I said, we dropped back and punted. It's 2 bolts. It's a 12, which will go, so this thing's gonna sit like this on the car, right? You're gonna be looking at it like that. So you got 1 bolt here, a 12, and you gotta take your center bolts out on the bottom. I mean, yeah, the bottom for the pulley. Now this, look, this comes loose, this pulley comes loose. Just spin it and check your bearing, and that's that. This here is what presses down on it. Let me get it up here, guys. Right, it presses down on that bearing in there, which holds everything tight. And one more thing you want to keep track of is that right there. You see this? That's your bolt stop. You want that in there, man. So keep that on there. Most of the time it kind of runs out, but hey, just run it back on there about halfway like so. You'll be good to go. Now, this here is 4 bolts. It's 1, 2, 3, and then there's one right down here for 4. So we're gonna pull this off. It just slides out like that. And there it is. We're just gonna throw that on the ground for right now. There it is. There's 1 cam gear. So we're looking for number 1 and the arrow. And we're looking for it to be right here. Dead top center, right there. But we're gonna go through. It should be 4 bolts on this cover. We're gonna pull this off real quick. Get in there. We gotta pull our harmonic balancer off, or our crank pulley. And then we gotta roll it around, get it top dead center, and pull everything else off. Here we go, man. Same thing, 10 millimeter. I'm gonna break them all loose. This one's a little tighter on this side. So just kind of bear with me with the camera and the light. I gotta fill them out. Right there, man. Well, need a little bit shorter of a ratchet here. All right, so we had to switch it up to our 1/4 inch drive for this back one. I mean, it's in a tight spot. There we go. Wow, that thing is tight. There it goes, there it is. So that's 1, 2, I got 1 more here, 3, and 4. This one's gonna be the same way. It's probably gonna have to go with this 1/4 inch ratchet to get to it. I might even have to get it from the bottom so I can see it. Let me take this light down there. Y'all just stay with me, stay with me. Well, right there. I cannot get it from the bottom. So you got 1 down here. I had to switch back to the 3/8 ratchet, man, to get it. And then that'll be the 4, right? And then we'll pull that cover off. We'll get to the rest of it. We got quite a bit to do. Luckily, man, I have to say, luckily they come out pretty easy. So once you get it broke loose, maybe a socket on there or something, and you can get them out, you ain't gotta sit there and ratchet the whole time. So let me pull this off of here. We'll get this cover off. We'll take a look at that sprocket real quick. Upper covers are off. Now, something I need to know, there is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 1 in the center. This cover didn't have the 1 in the center. So I needed to throw that in there. It's 5 bolts for your upper cover. Now we're gonna get to trying to time this engine real quick, and then we're gonna take that balancer off. So we're gonna jump right into this, man. This is where we're at now. You can't really see, it's hard to get a good angle, but here's my line right here on this spline. Needs to line up right here, right on there. And then this one is right there, and my line's right there. So we're not too far off from top dead center, but we need to get that going because we definitely want to put it back together in time. Earlier in the video, man, we broke this thing loose. If you see, it's behind this bottom cover. So, you know what I mean? I'm glad it's loose already, but we got to get this bottom cover off to get this off, and it's got to be out of the way to do the water pump. Now, we're already at the bottom. We're trying to see if we can't get this thing timed, and then we'll get to ripping the rest of this off. Come on back. Come on back. Come on back. We're looking for one right here. There's an arrow right there. Whoa, slow. We're trying to line it up right here. Come on. Come on. Come on. I mean a hair. All right, hold that. We get over here, we'll get this light. And look at that. This line right here. Whoop. Drop that light, fellas. Sorry. So you got the one line right here on this spline, and it's even got a dash right here on your top of your pulley, or the lip of your pulley. It's in line with our top mark. We come over here, turn this light. Here's our one, right? Now the arrow is right there on that tooth, and it's pointed right at that. So we should be in time. Now we're gonna rip the pulley off, and then we'll get the lower cover off, and we're really gonna get into the fun stuff. So man, it's about an hour later. Me and my dad had to go get some lunch, and we had to go rent this tool, man. It's a Honda/Acura crank pulley tool, and it fits inside. Here, let me pull this off. It was a whole setup, man. 1 second. I gotta relieve the tension off the tool to get it out. Here we go. There it is. So, you're gonna have to have this tool and a breakover bar, man, and you're gonna let it lay down in here, right here. Right in there. You're gonna have to be careful, because when it's in there, it's close to your oil filter. So be careful, don't let it pry on your oil filter. And then, it gets better, fellas. So it's a 19 millimeter. We got a deep socket, 3 extensions, a jack stand, a 1/2 inch drive ratchet, and a 6 foot long cheater pipe. And that's what we had to do to get it broke loose. Now that it is broke loose, we're gonna get everything pulled up. Look,
24 inch.
you need at least 2 foot of extension to come out past your car to put a cheater in a jack stand, because you want the jack stand to support your extension like so. Now, we're gonna finish backing this out, take this pulley off. We gotta get it back in time, but we're gonna pull that lower cover off first. So we're back rolling with it. All right, man, we're about to slide that harmonic balancer off there, that crank pulley. And I wanted to show you, man, because I wanted to give you a better shot. So when you put your cheater bar in here, right, you're gonna go underneath your CV axle and put it up against your control arm. You do not want to be prying on this, you're gonna mess it up. So I wanted to show you all that, man, because that last shot wasn't that good. Now we're just gonna roll with it. Let me get this extension out of here. Hold that camera, Dad. So once you get your crank bolt out, look at how easy it is. That's just a little bit of PB blaster in there. Watch this. Super simple, man. Pull that out, you can just set it down, and then you have your key, and we got to get a magnet and pull this out. So let me round up a magnet real quick. We're gonna pull the keyway out, and we're gonna pull this out.
I got a magnet right here.
Oh well, we're just gonna keep it rolling, man. My dad's got a magnet right here. Here we go. So that there, you just want to pull it off. You want to save that. You don't get a new one with the kit, right? We're just going to set that right there with that crank pulley. And then we're not going to pull this out until we get the tensioner and everything off and get it retimed so everything's back in place. So we're going to finish taking out our 10 millimeters. We're going to pull this rear or the bottom timing belt cover off, and we're going to get right into it. I mean, you can already see the belt right here. So I believe it's 6 10s. We're going to break them all loose. You got 2 on the bottom, 2 on the sides, 2 up on the top. And I'm getting these 2 from the bottom here. I'm just going to break them loose for now. I got to hop up top. This is where it's going to get fun. So, all right, Pop, I need right there, bro. So we got one right here at the top. This is our top one. Then we got one right here on the middle, in the middle, should I say. Like I've stated before, they are, once you break them loose, they're loose enough. Let's see, I don't feel any more right here. So yeah, that would be 1, 2, 3, and then it's gonna be the same on the other side. I'm gonna fight it out real quick. But let's see what it's got. I think I need to go with my shallow socket. And that is also something to note. You need deep sockets and shallow sockets to do this. Okay, there's the top one there, right here. Let's see if I can't get this ratchet on there. There it is. Nope, that's not it. Right. I don't think I'm getting on it all the way, fellas. Not enough. So your other top ones where that purple socket is at, I had to use an 1.5 inch, 1/4 inch extension with a 10 millimeter and a little stubby ratchet. That was the only way I could get in there to get it loose. So that's what we got. I got that deep socket on there so I can reach it and spin it off. And then I think the last one we're gonna get from the bottom. Oops, sorry about that, I covered you right up. There we go. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. And like I mentioned earlier, when that bottom cover comes off, this mount will come off with it also. And then your last one's right here, look. It's right here on the edge. Let me get up in here. And they come, I mean, they're not too bad, man. They're not real tight in there, which is a bonus. Shoulder bolt. There's that one. That's the kind of bolt it is right there. Got a little shank on it. Kind of like a dowel pin almost. We got this one. I think we got one more in the center up there on the top, right here, I believe. Right there, I believe. No? All right, let's see what it's gonna take to get this thing pulled off of here real quick. Oh, hold on. Oh, I didn't pull this one out. Sorry, guys. Whoa. I gotta pull this top one out. I broke it loose, but I didn't pull it out. All right, it's out. There we go. And then if you look at your lower timing cover here, check this out. So, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts. This one doesn't have to come out, it holds this in. Unless you just want to take this off. Then you got your 3 bolts, these here. This is for your engine mount to your block. 14 millimeters. Don't forget that one's kind of tucked up in there. Now, we got to retime this thing and start taking some parts off. I know it's hard to see, man, but you have this dash right here. And it's got 1, and it's got an arrow right here, right on that tooth. This is our mark we want to line up with. Now, we have the same thing, but it's not numbered on the other side. And let me drop this light real quick. And there's only 1. Now, I don't know if you can pick that up on the camera. Nah, it's gonna be too far away. And I can't get that angle, man, but there's a line or a dash on the edge of the pulley and one of the stars. There's also a mark right up top up here, right? There's the mark on your pulleys right here. Here's your mark. So this line should line up with that line when your number 1 on this pulley lines up with your top dead center here. So we're gonna have to retime it because taking that crank bolt out was a chore. So here we go, man. We're gonna roll it around there and get it started. Nice and steady. Come on with it. Come on. All right, whoa, 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 slow. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, a little bit. All right, hold that. And then that mark right there is almost lined up with that mark. Maybe just a hair more, Dad. There's also a dot on your crank bearing down there. My dad's wiping everything off down there right now to see where we can find the mark on the block. So down here on the bottom, you have a dot right here on your crank gear. And then you have an arrow. Man, it's hard to get it up there where you can see it, dude. There's an arrow on your block right here. So when you're lined up 1 on the notch and then the straight line on the other cam is lined up top dead center, your dot on this crank gear should line up directly with the arrow right here. So if that is it, you are in time. At that point, we can get ready to take off all this. We can take our gear off, our spline out. Okay guys, so we're not taking this off, man. We're not taking none of that off for the fact that we don't need to get that gear off of there or anything else. So we're gonna start up here on the tensioner. The actual tensioner right here. It's 2 tens, 1 here and 1 there. We're gonna pull this off. This pulley right here will swing down and give us the slack to slide our belt off. Then we're gonna pull off our idler pulley here. Let me see, I'm trying to fill it out right here. And we're gonna replace it also. Then we can get up to the top, which I don't know if you can see it right there, that slick looking pulley, that's our water pump. We're gonna pop all that off and we're gonna carry on with it. We've already got that thing broke loose. It's a 10 millimeter. All right, so when y'all are taking these out, man, if you're just gonna take it off like this, be prepared for it to be under a little pressure, right? Don't expect it just to be normal. We didn't compress that tensioner in. And I say that because it's also taking this ratchet to get that bolt all the way out. Well, if it's got pressure on it, it will. Let me grab my short stock, my shallow. It's another reason why you gotta have 2 sets of sockets here. Watch that wire. Okay, so the belt just slid right off, man. It wasn't a big deal. When that tensioner came off, it wasn't under a lot of pressure. So it wasn't like it was a real big deal to take it off, the bolt was just tight. Now what I wanted to show you is that my dad has been experiencing a whining noise, but it wasn't the power steering pump. This here we replaced probably 6 months ago. It must have just started leaking. So we're gonna have to replace that. It should be under warranty. That's beside the point. Now, I want you to hear this tensioner pulley for the timing belt. Hear that? Hear that? So that's probably his noise right there. And it's got some play in it, listen. And then this one, this is the idler. And it's quiet. It's got a little play, but it's quiet. But we do have new ones, and we are gonna replace it. So we're gonna get this 14 mil right here, pull that off. Now, this here, if you look at it, it's got these holes, one here and one there. So if you're trying to reuse this, you got to get it pushed in and get a pin stuck in there to hold it back so you can do your belt. Look, here's the new one right here. You see that pin right there? It's for the same hole. You see how it keeps that tensioner collapsed? So that's the purpose, so you can get everything set and then let your tensioner go, and then you ain't got to worry about it jumping time or anything crazy like that, because that could be catastrophic. So we're gonna get in here, get these replaced, get this water pump off of here, get that replaced, and then we're gonna button this thing back up. Man, this is gonna be a long enough video. Me and my dad's been at it for at least 5 hours. So if you're planning on doing this, plan a whole day to get it done. So here we go, man. It's a 14 mil and a 14 mil. Now this one here, it's gotta be 3/8, man. You gotta have 3/8 and 1/2 inch. That one's loose enough, it'll come right out. This one here though is a little bit snug, which I'm not too keen on that. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna roll with it nice and slow, because if we get them threads too hot, man, that thing will snap off right inside that block, and that would be catastrophic. So we'll give it a little bit like this. Now we'll jump over here and we'll get this one going. We'll just pull this off. I mean, it gives that bolt a second to cool down. We don't want to get crazy on it. And there it is. So with this, we pull this bolt out. We have to pull this sleeve out right here and put in the new one. Let me get the new one. You see that sleeve right there is not in there for that. It's also a guide. So if you look at the bolt that came out of it, it's got that bigger shank to line up in there.
Yep, here we go.
So this is what we're looking at right here. You want it to go down in there like that to help center it. So, oh, I'm sorry. That's the way the bolt goes right there, to center it. You see how that bolt has no play? So we got to make sure to get that out, just like so. We're going to clean it up and re-grease it and reuse it. This is a part you have to reuse. So let's get on with, well, I guess we're about to rip that water pump out. We're going to get this idler off real quick. Same method, nice and slow until it comes all the way out and we can check them threads. So we got the idler pulley off. It was snug. Somebody put some thread locker on there, which is a good idea. The bolt's the same. It has a shank on there that fits down in there perfect. And just make sure you put your idler and tensioner pulley back on the right way. So now we got to get into breaking this water pump loose and losing all this water. All right, man, so now that I got this out, listen to this. You hear that? I guarantee that's that rattle my dad's been hearing under the hood. Man, that bearing is shot. That tensioner pulley for the timing belt is shot. So I'm glad that came with a new one. Now there is a bulletin on this shim right here. Now we're gonna go over this because it needs to go on there from what I heard. So here's the bulletin right here. I'll give you just a couple seconds, and if you need to read it or want to read it, just pause it and read it. And that'll be that. So we're gonna go through the process and then we'll show you what to do with it. And like I said, if you need to read this, pause it, zoom in, and try to read it. Guys, I was mistaken, man. I was mistaken. So it's the idler pulley, and it's gonna go behind there like that, and it's gonna bolt to the engine block. It's the shim it for grinding. Let's see here. For the Acura, it's the service bulletin 08-031. It says right here, according to the OE service bulletin, additional steps may be required depending on the application. They give you a sheet on the back to match up your vehicle. Now, it says this could include installation of a shim right here, depending on your shim, grinding reliefs in the engine mounting bracket, and even water pump replacement on some applications. And then it says, where is it? It says right here at the bottom, the shim is placed between the idler pulley and the oil pump housing, which is the mount on your engine block. So let me show you this real quick. So if you want to pause it and look, I'll go slow. See if we can't find your car. Ours is right here. The one we're working on is right here up top. And it shows you that you're gonna need it on there. That's the rest of them. You can skim over it. So that's that. It tells you what you need to know. If you see something, pause it. I'm sorry, man, this video is long enough. We're gonna start bolting this stuff back up. Well, we're gonna take the water pump off, and then we're gonna start bolting stuff back up. So let's get started. I need to throw this in there too. If your belt's chirping, your timing belt's chirping. That's what this shim is for. It tells you right here. It's original equipment manufacturer identified instance of timing belt chirping emitting from the timing belt area on some Hondas and Acura vehicles. The chirp can be heard after, but not limited to, belt warm-up. In some instances, the mounting of the idler pulley can cause the belt to rub against the flange on the drive pulley gear, resulting in a chirp. That's why they give you this shim. So, I gotta find the old belt here, and I wanna show you, because I read that now and I wanna show you what I seen. Let me get y'all over here in the light. So if you look at this belt, and then you start looking at the edge of it, there is a little bit of wear on the edge of it right there, right? To where it's probably rubbing. So I'm glad they threw that in and caught that bulletin. I mean, that'll save us in the long run. We're already going through the process to get it done. So we're gonna rip this water pump off and carry on with the video, man. Okay, man, here we go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your engine mount to block bolts are 3 of your water pump bolts. And they are 10 millimeters, so let's get it going. Good thing is they're not real tight.
O-ring seal.
Yeah, like my dad just said, it's an O-ring seal, so you don't really have to get crazy on it for it to seal off 100%. See that? Man, super simple, guys. Now, the entire job has been a chore, but it's always worth it, especially for my dad, man. So we're gonna back these out. I'm not gonna show y'all the waterworks. I'll click y'all back on. We install a new one and we'll go from there, fellas. So we got the water pump out, man. You know I like to match up my parts. This is the original Honda water pump, man, with 285,000 miles on it, and it still doesn't feel like it's in bad shape, but we're here, so we are gonna replace it. This is the gates. I'm pretty sure that's the part number 41184, and I wanted to check it and make sure. Now, when I pulled the old one off, I seen the dowel pins. There's 2 of them, here and here, but the new one comes with it, here and here. You want to make sure the new one's got one, or got them. And we got the new O-ring. We'll just pop this thing on there real quick. I mean, you gotta love an O-ring. Hold on, we gotta get it the right way first. There it is. There's the baby's pappy. And boom, that'll go just like that. So that's that. We're about to put it back on. So I just wiped off the surface with a rag. One reason I wiped it off, it was just an O-ring still, but I wanted to make sure there was no high spots or anything of that nature. So I don't want that new O-ring being torn by any means. Now I'm gonna grab that water pump and then we're gonna put it on, bolt it up. Like I stated, we're gonna blow all this off, all this water out of here once we seal up the engine again. And then we'll go from there, man. And it should be getting real close to buttoning up time. So here it is, man. I got my O-ring laid in there. So you don't want it to fall out. So put it up in there at an angle. Let me get my water pump the right way. Sorry, guys. I had it in there backwards. So, like I stated, you want to put it up there slow. Line your dowels up, right? Whoop, wrong spot, man. No, it's not. No, it's not, guys. I'm fading. I'm sorry. And then when you push it up, go up slow because you don't want that O-ring to pop out. And you know me, I'm going to get this top bolt started right here, but I'm going to run it all the way in with my fingers, right? Because I want that water pump to stay on that face of that block right there. So when it's there, it should hold it in place. Now it's not tight because we're going to get everything started before we tighten it up, but at least it holds the water pump flush and keeps that O-ring in that groove. Because I guarantee you one thing, fellas, when you get done doing this, you do not want a water pump leak, seeing as what you got to go through to get to it. All right, man, so we got the water pump bolted up. You want to tighten it up in a star pattern like a tire because you want it to seat all the way around. You also want to check, make sure there's no binding after you get it tight. There shouldn't be. Now, we got our idler pulley here bolted up. I know it's kind of dark in there, man. Light is very terrible right now, right here, and it's nice and smooth. So with your tensioner pulley, two things. One, you want to make sure your ear right here is down, just like that. You want it to be down for your tensioner to set on. Then you also want to take your pin. We took ours out and cleaned it up. I dabbed a little bit of grease on there and it slides in with the flange side to the block. Then your bolt, it's got that shank on there. It'll line up in there just like that, and it bolts right there. You see that tensioner will slide on there. You got to kind of hold it. It's kind of difficult. Well, not really. And once you get it started like that, just run it in, right? Make sure your tensioner still moves freely. Run it in with your hand tight. Look, there it is. The knuckles on the bottom. We'll tighten this up. We're gonna put our tensioner on there, but we're not gonna pull the pin on the tensioner until we get our belt wrapped and make sure we're still in time. Something to note with this tensioner right here, if it's hanging down too low, it's gonna bind up. So make sure it's up and moving freely when you tighten this bolts up, man. It's 14 mil right here. And then when you get it tight, 19 foot-pounds of torque, you're gonna have a little bit of play in there, which I believe is just that. I guess it's that spacer that's in there, or that bushing, that metal bushing that's in there. But you do want to make sure it moves freely and that your pulley spins freely. So that's that, man. Now we're gonna carry on to wrapping this belt. We gotta bolt this tensioner on there, but we're gonna leave the pin in until we're completely sure that when we release it, it will not knock it out of time. Because if it does, we got to take it back apart and redo it. Man, we got that belt wrapped. Now, this is an important note. Your tensioner on your tensioner pulley for your timing belt, leave it off. Just get the top bolt started and leave it. And then make sure when you're wrapping your belt that your teeth go back into the grooves. I mean, it is a super tight fit. And if you go to pulling on it, man, you're going to knock one of them cams at a time. We actually did. And we had to roll it back around and get it set, and man, I mean, it's right there, just ready to pop one way or the other. So now we got that. We're gonna bolt the tensioner back up on the bottom, release it, and we should be ready to put covers back on, man. So my battery's getting low, so it's gonna kind of be hit and miss with the video, but I will wrap it up with y'all. And so we fought this thing for the last 45 minutes trying to get this belt wrapped and keep it in time all the way around. man, what we had to do is we had to put it on here, right? Wrap it all the way around here, get these two good, and then try to pull our slack out the bottom and slide it on our crank gear. Now, with the tensioner and everything being bolted up in the tensioner pulley, I had to back out the bolt on my idler pulley here to get enough slack to slide it over and then tighten it back up. Now, the belt's already nice and snug, but I wanted to put this in there. I don't know if y'all, almost got that camera gone. I don't know if y'all can see that pin right there, but we're about to pull it. So, let's see what we got, man. We're tight all the way around. I had to get some pliers. We're gonna pull this out. It's probably not gonna do much, but should tighten a little bit of slack I got up in this chain. So, let me grab this. There it is. Pin's out. Chain is tight. I'm sorry, chain. Belt is tight. I mean tight. Now, I want to show you this. So, we got everything done. Now, you have to look. I know you can't see them that well, but we had to make sure our timing marks are all still dead center. Dead center, dead center. Bring this light down here. The arrow on the crank gear is lined up with the arrow on the bottom. Man, we are in there, guys. We got it all set and it's all still in time. So, like I stated, it did take us 45 minutes and we had to take the belt off a couple times to reroute it. So, we got that done.
You want to take your time.
Now, yeah, you definitely, like my dad just stated, man, you want to take your time. You do not want this car out of time when you fire it up. That's bent valves, that's broken rockers. I mean, that's stuff you don't want to deal with. So, I'm glad we got it all back in time. Everything's tightened up, new belts on, new water pump. We're gonna slide. Let me turn this light back on. We're gonna take that bolt off right here. Now that everything's one unit again, if it rolls, it's not a big deal. It'll stay in where it's supposed to. So we're gonna take this off, slide our pulley back on, bolt it up. Then we're gonna get all these covers bolted back on. It'll be the same as what I showed you when we took them off. Man, my camera's about to die and this video is already gonna be long enough. So I'm gonna give you one more shot once we get it buttoned up and get it fired up for the first start. And that's what's up, man. So we got a lot more to do and we're gonna continue chipping away at it. Once you get your cover on and bolted up, now don't forget, you have this washer right here which helps keep your belt on. It goes on before your crank pulley. And then your crank pulley, you just line it up like that. Line your little keyway up. Oh, trying to do this one-handed, man. And then there it is. We'll get our crank bolt. Get it started in there. Like so. We're gonna run it in, torque it to spec. We gotta put the top covers on, power steering pump. It's gotta be bolted back down. And then we should be ready for the first fire. Oh, and put the belt on. So we still gotta get all that done. It's already like 8 o'clock at night. So we gotta get this banged out. And then I'll give you a shot with it running. We'll see how it does from there, guys. Okay, fellas, man, we have been chipping away at these covers. Getting the power steering pump put back on. So, man, the video's already gonna be long enough. So I didn't really put a lot of the putting it back together. But if you follow your same steps from taking it apart and go back with it in reverse, then it'll work out. And that's how we did it. So we still gotta wrap the belt. And this is one key factor I wanna put in there, man. Wrap your belt, mount your power steering pump, and wrap your belt around your pulleys before you put your motor mount on, because your belt's got to get past it. So we're gonna finish wrapping this, get that motor mount mounted down. Man, we're ready to fire this bad boy up. Okay, guys, man, we got it buttoned up, dude. So earlier in the video I said it's taking 8 hours. It's taking me and my dad 12 hours to get this done. You can do it even if it's your first time. So there's a few things you need to note, and I want to go over them before we fire this thing up for the first time. Now, One, if you're getting your crankshaft bolt off with extensions and a breakover bar, wear safety glasses and be safe. We actually busted an extension. Let me see. I don't really know where it's at. Oh, look, right here. So that thing busted trying to get that thing loose. So be careful, man. Flying objects can hurt you bad. Another thing, when you're doing your timing belt, if you're not gonna take your bottom gear off like we didn't, make sure, and I mean check 1,000 times, dude, that your car does not go out of time, not even 1/2. It happened to us. It took us 45 minutes to get it set in time and get the belt on there and get the pin pulled on the tensioner. So, one more thing, if you're gonna save your tensioner here, let me turn this radio down. So if you're gonna save your tensioner here, right? Save your pin, or find you something small like this, then you're gonna set it in here. Find a way to collapse it. Dad, run that in there. See, and you just run it down all the way until the pins line up. It's kind of turning a little bit. Now let it up. You reinsert your pin. Oh, we missed it. We missed it.
Let's see. Oh yeah, good turn.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. That little pin turned. I guess I can show y'all that the pin also turns. Right there.
Man, they wore out.
Mm-hmm. Once you get it collapsed like that, you close it all the way in. That pin should go all the way through. When it goes down like that, look. And there it is. Now it should go all the way through the other side. I missed it, but it's just a demonstration. This is trash. Now, with all that, man, all the safety tips, the whole time it took me to do it, I understand it's gonna be a long video. This here is the moment of truth, man. We are about to fire it up for the very first time. So give me just a couple of seconds, guys, and we're gonna get this party started. Here we go, first start. Look at that, boy. I have to tell you, man, that thing sounds fantastic. Now, a couple of things we noticed. One, the power steering pump's leaking. Two, the tensioner part of the pulleys, the idler and tensioner is one. It's one unit. The idler part of that tensioner is bad, so we gotta get another bearing for that. Now, with all of that, guys, it has been 12 long hours over here at this shop getting this done. I'm ready to go home, take a shower, get everything ready, man. I gotta be in the beach tomorrow for my nephew's party. I'm here to show you it's dark. So, man, with all that, fellas, y'all keep living the dream, doing your thing. Like and subscribe. Always drop your boy a comment, and I am going home for the night.